So I don't remember when they announced it. It was possibly 2 years ago now. It's hard to remember. But Hasbro said, hey, we're going to do a spin-off Marvel Legends figure series, and it's going to be called, unofficially, the Retro Collection. I don't know what it's actually called, but it was very much in the vein of the Star Wars Retro Collection, which to date has had 3 waves, with a 4th wave announced. I get these in the mail as a surprise gift to the channel from 2 Cents Toys, and I open them up and I look at them, and the first thing I'm struck by is how nice the card backs are. The card backs are extremely nice and high quality compared to a lot of the other card back or classic card back product that Hasbro has been putting out lately with their Star Wars line. Both their Retro Collection and their Vintage Collection card backs for the Star Wars figure series are garbage. I don't understand why. I don't understand why this license gets better card backs than Star Wars when both of them are owned by Disney, and Star Wars was sold to Disney for just a slightly higher amount than Marvel was sold to Disney for. Given that, I would have thought the licensing fees between Marvel and Star Wars would have been comparable. But if you take the card backs as an indicator or a barometer, they must not be, because Hasbro cheaps out on every 3 3/4 inch card back they can for Star Wars. They're flimsy, flimsy card stock, and these are really, really nice. As far as the figures go, I'm not going to get into that too much. If you are an adult toy collector and you feel you need an intricate rundown of a 5 POA points of articulation action figure, I don't know how to help you.
7 POA.
What?
These are 7 POA.
You mean that pointless forearm swivel? Most of these figures don't even come with accessories.
Details about arms are very important.
Jeez. 5 POA action figures have been the staple since 1978. Really prior to that with Fisher-Price Adventure People. If you don't know how they work by now, you're never gonna know how they work.
Ugh, 7 POA.
I get it. They look, to my trained eye, very high quality for what they are, which is a simple 5 POA figure. Go ahead. I know you want to.
7 POA.
Just by looking at them in the bubbles, I can tell, yeah, there's nothing wrong with these. They look pretty nice. Good paint apps. They have seemingly good plastic quality. If Hasbro's unable at this point to do a 5 POA action figure and have it not be of a standard quality and durability, then they are hopelessly lost as a company. But that being said, these look just fine.
7 POA.
They look higher quality than Super 7s by a mile, and they look really nice on the card backs. The reason I don't want to take them out is because, one, I don't want to create the extra waste to run around with and figure out what to do with. I don't want action figures separated from bubbles when, in reality, I'm just not that interested in these. That's what it boils down to. There's nothing wrong with these figures as products. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with them from a quality or a deco perspective. They present very well on these very nice card backs. And for me, if I'm going to have these in my collection, which I would otherwise not reach up on a peg and grab, the last thing I'm going to do is separate them from these bubbles, because I don't see myself wanting to display these. It's not that the figures are bad. It's not that their paint deco is bad. It's not even that the card backs are bad. In fact, all of those things look very nice. It's because this figure line's existence makes very little sense to me at all. I can't figure out why Hasbro made these. I can't figure out what their end game is with this Marvel Legends retro line. I don't get it. If they're supposed to be lower price point action figures to appeal to children, and you're hanging them on pegs next to the 6-inch Marvel Legends, you've kind of shot yourself in the foot on that one. On top of that, there's this other smoking gun that throws that whole theory into the trash, which is the Kenner logo. Why is the Kenner logo on these packages? What is the point? What is Hasbro trying to say with this? Kenner never had the Marvel license. Not once. And I'm not trying to be pedantic when I say that. You know, some of you are probably thinking, Michael, it's just a little retro thing, just let it go. Okay, what would be the point of putting a retro logo on this card back or this entire series, since Kenner never had the license for Marvel. They never had the license, so these aren't reflective of a Kenner toy from the past, like Star Wars Retro Collection. They're not really in the vein of Mattel Secret Wars, because they can't be, because even though Mattel doesn't have the Marvel license anymore, they still own the tooling for the Secret Wars figures. So it's not that. The Kenner logo would not appeal to children, which starts to erode my idea that these were lower price point figures to appeal to the kids market. If you're going to appeal to the kids market with 5 POA figures in a lower price point, you might as well make the card back really small, so you don't have to pay as much for the packaging, and then not worry about putting the Kenner logo on there and just put Hasbro on there. I'm really trying to figure out where the demand was for these. Was this Hasbro's attempt, and is it, I guess because it's still running, is this Hasbro's attempt to compete with Super 7's reaction figures? Was that a thing? Were the collectors saying, I don't want 6-inch superheroes anymore? I'm trying to figure out where these slot in. When we were kids in the 80s and Kenner had their logo on the Superpowers line, those figures were what, 4.5 inches? Something like that, 4.5 or 5, I think. And then Secret Wars from Mattel followed suit with a comparable scale to make those integrate a little better, so kids could kind of have Spider-Man and Superman on the same adventure. It was a smart competitive move. These, on the other hand, the Kenner logo and the retro card backs have no weight for children, I wouldn't think. The artwork and everything, the logos are all referencing older versions of the comic books and the classic logos, so that appeals to an adult. Most of the adult collectors that I speak with and talk to on a daily basis love 6-inch. They prefer articulation. They don't like 5 POA. They've abandoned it almost entirely. 5 POA is a very, very niche market when it comes to adult toy collecting.
7 POA.
It would make sense if the card back was an economy card back, like a smaller one that kind of just went around the bubble, and it just said Hasbro on it, and it was priced at, $8.99 or something like that for kids, and they sold them at Walgreens, and then I would be like, oh yeah, I totally get it. A parent doesn't want to pay $24, $26.99 for a Marvel Spider-Man. They're going to buy their kid this one, and the kid, will be able to have a economical figure and then collect more of them. But it's that Kenner logo that's really messing with me, because I'm going, what was the intent here? Who was the target audience for this line? All of this just seems like a marketing ploy. Hey guys, you remember Kenner? Well, if we put that on these card backs, and you really like Marvel, don't you? It's like a what if. Given where they have the Marvel license right now with Marvel Legends, the foray into this, I'm trying to understand where the demand was, where the market was for this. Unless they really were saying, well, we miss Mego Pocket Heroes and we're going to bring them back. In which case I would say, okay, this is a new product. I don't mean like Star Wars Retro Collection where it's really just a re-release of an old product. This is a brand new set of tooling for all of the figures they're making in this line. And sure, they're easier to make because they're not as complex, and they probably get to reuse a few sets of legs and arms here and there. It's that Kenner logo. What are they going to do? Are they going to come out with like a retro line of Visionaries, which was a Hasbro property, and just put the Kenner logo on there? Is Kenner now the sub-brand for Hasbro for more kid-attractive, lower price point toys? More economically priced toys? Now, if that was the case, I could understand it. If Hasbro came out and said, we are resurrecting Kenner in the grander tradition of action figure sales, Kenner will be our banner brand for simpler, more economically price-pointed action figures targeting the toy market, the age where kids play with toys. We are targeting children who still like playing with toys and action figures with this brand. Anything under the Kenner brand targets that age group. If that was the case, I could totally understand it. I'd be right behind it. I'd be like, okay, I get this. I get this. But I don't think that's what's going on here. I think this is just weird. And I think the reason that I decided to finally talk about these is because they announced the Indiana Jones figures, and they said there will be a retro wave as part of that as well. I cannot see Hasbro having also announced they will be doing a super articulated 3 3/4 inch figure line for Indiana Jones like they do with Star Wars. I just can't see them taking the time for the retro wave to make them exactly like the Kenner figures with the knee joints and everything like they were, because they were repurposed Real West action figures. I don't see Hasbro doing that. I think they're going to do it like they're doing with these. They're just going to tool up brand new figures that kind of look retro, and they're strictly 5 POA.
You know, if they give them knees, that would make them 7P.
That's the last time. And they're going to put them on card backs that look like the old Kenner card backs. God forbid they use that flimsy stock. Can you please use the stock that's on these, Hasbro? Please, maybe for a second? You've already got it. You're using it. Why you're not doing it with Star Wars? Let's make our product look like crap. I think that's a great strategy. No curb appeal whatsoever. But I don't see them doing anything fancier with Indiana Jones than they've done with these. I think the Indiana Jones figures aren't going to be the Kenner originals, because the hyper-articulated ones will have all that. Now, they could surprise me and put the knee joints into the figures that had them, like Belloc and Indy and Sala and the German mechanic. That's if they get that far with the retro collection. Unless Kenner is now the sub-brand of Hasbro that appeals to kids, I am baffled at what this whole combo is supposed to be for the buyer. What is this product line trying to say to the adult buyer? I don't see the mass appeal of these with adult collectors. I don't see the point of the Kenner logo on there. So yeah, I'm not going to be collecting these. Again, I don't think they suck. I think there's an awesome opportunity here if they shorten the card backs, took the Kenner logo off of it, made them $8.99 and put them out for kids. I think that would be killer. I think that'd be great. But right now, these are just pure display darlings. They are just meant to be kept in the card backs. They're meant to be bought and displayed like a Super 7 reaction figure. They're a simulation of a thing that never existed. My Marvel Legends 6-inch figures are way, way nicer as far as curb appeal. Putting them on a shelf and displaying them outside of the package, I mean, they're great. And then for a retro display, I've got my Secret Wars and I've got my Superpowers. And in this case, it would be Secret Wars. So those were the ones that were actually there in the 80s. And I've got my Pocket Heroes as well. I don't know. This just seems like a non-starter. But I could be proven wrong. Well, to each their own. And I'll see you on the next video.